I got up in the middle of the night to use the restroom and overheard my husband planning to kill me. After his beloved broke off her engagement, he couldn't wait even a day. Terrified, I packed my belongings and fled hundreds of miles overnight. 3 months later, my husband found me in Y City. He held a long knife, gritting his teeth. "Lu Chu Chu, why are you running? Can't you tell the difference between harsh words and dirty talk?" Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The dim light flickered like beans, and the sturdy lacquered bed in the room creaked throughout the night. My lower abdomen cramped, and I curled up helplessly, pushing Shinlang away. "General, I really can't take it anymore." I looked up at him pitifully, my eyes red, with tears still glistening on my cheeks. Shinlang's rough fingers brushed past my lips, his eyes deep and somber, as he sighed deeply. "All right, you should rest early." Shinlang got dressed and left the bed, and soon after, the sound of water splashing came from the adjacent room. My tense expression instantly relaxed, and I collapsed, feeling utterly exhausted. Shinlang went to bathe, so that meant the night was over. Thank heavens, I finally didn't have to suffer anymore. If I had known life would be this hard after getting married, I wouldn't have agreed to this marriage no matter what my mother said. My mother's words were always deceitful. I said Shinlang was tall and strong, and even when a sturdy stool was smashed against his arm, he was unscathed while the wooden stool shattered into pieces. It was terrifying. But my mother said I didn't understand anything and that I would enjoy a good life after marrying him. What good life? Liars, all of them. They were just afraid of offending Shinlang and didn't care about their own daughter. The more I thought about it, the more upset I became, regretting it deeply. If I had known, I wouldn't have gone to join the excitement when Shinlang returned to the capital. Shinlang is the legitimate son of the Guardian Duke. He grew up on the frontier with the old Duke, and although he wasn't in the capital, his legends were everywhere. It was said that he could wield a sword at 3 and kill a pig at 4. At 8, he was as tall as an adult. Otherwise, how could he have joined the army at 14 and defeated the northern Huns? I had seen the Huns. In the Battle of Sword Pass, our army won a great victory, capturing over 3,000 elite Hun soldiers and escorting a Hun prince to the capital. That Hun prince stood in the prison cart, at least 8 feet tall, with brown eyebrows, green eyes, and a face covered in a thick beard, with features as hard as if carved from stone. His arm was thicker than my head. The adults said the Huns called us two-legged sheep and would roast and eat us when they were short of food and clothing. This Hun prince looked truly fierce, shaking the prison cart violently, and the sturdy wooden bars seemed about to be torn apart. Many children and women in the surrounding crowd cried out in fear. Of course, not me. I wasn't that cowardly, though my legs trembled. I didn't cry. I just had nightmares for several nights afterward. My mother was also scared, holding my arm and patting her chest. "Ba, my heavens, what do these people eat to grow like this?" The maid Kaiyun chimed in. "Madam, I heard that people over there eat raw meat and drink blood, preferring to gnaw on raw beef and lamb." "It's truly terrifying," my mother gasped. "If the Huns are so tall, what does the young Duke Shin, who defeated them, look like?" Kaiyun's face turned pale. "The young Duke Shin is only 16 this year. Could he be 10 feet tall? Taller than our courtyard wall." This little maid Kaiyun really lacks knowledge. How could a person be 10 feet tall? In my opinion, at most 8 feet, as tall as this prince. But if they're the same height, how could he defeat the prince? He must have developed horizontally, Shinlang, even more robust than this prince. Most of the capital's citizens thought like me. Only the servants of the Guardian Duke's mansion, after hearing this, were indignant and came out several times to refute the rumors. "Our young duke doesn't look like a bear or a wild boar, he's very handsome." Shinlang, handsome? Who would believe that? No one took their words seriously, and the people of the Guardian Duke's mansion were furious. But there was nothing they could do about it. Until 3 months ago, when the Shin family army returned to the capital. The Guardian Duke's wife was overjoyed, booking restaurants on both sides of the capital street and inviting the capital's elite to welcome Shinlang. My father, only a 5th-rank official in the Ministry of Rights, without power or influence, surprisingly received an invitation with a seat at the foremost restaurant on Capitol Street. Father was secretly pleased. Could it be that the guardian duke wants to show goodwill and promote me? After inquiring around, he found out that the one spreading rumors about Shenlang's appearance most enthusiastically in the capital was my mother. The guardian duke's wife wanted us to see clearly whether her son looked like a burly bear. The Moon Pavilion is located at the end of the capital street, with carved eaves and emerald tiles, and tiered pavilions. It is one of the most impressive restaurants in the capital. We occupied the best spot in the private room on the second floor. And from the window, we could see the entire capital street. That day, half of the capital's citizens came. Ropes were pulled up on both sides of Capitol Street. And the city guards and the royal army patrolled along the street, loudly shouting and ensuring the citizens did not get too close to the road. My mother leaned half of her body out the window and turned her head with delight, saying, "Thanks to my clever tongue, otherwise we'd be down there, only able to see the back of people's heads. How could we have such a good spot?" My father sat in the chair, blowing his beard and glaring. "You still have the nerve to talk. You ignorant woman," speaking without restraint. Luckily, the guardian duke's family is magnanimous and doesn't hold it against us. Otherwise, would I still be wearing my official hat? My mother disdainfully curled her lips. "It's not a big deal. Look at your timidness." Suddenly, someone shouted downstairs, "They're coming, they're coming." I hear the sound of hooves. My mother immediately stretched her neck excitedly and waved at me. "Choo-choo, come and look." I sat in the chair, cracking melon seeds, shaking my head. "I won't look. The last time I saw that prince, it gave me nightmares for days. Shenlang looks scarier than the little prince." "I won't look." My mother said, "You useless thing, just as cowardly as your father. What's wrong with taking a look? Even the princess's private room is behind ours. Such a good spot, if you don't look, you're wasting it." "You." My mother babbled for a while and suddenly stopped talking. Her expression was very strange, her eyes wide open, her mouth slightly ajar, and her fingernails gripping the window ledge tightly. Beside her, Kaiyun and Nanny Zhao had the exact same expression. The difference was that Kaiyun's cheeks were flushed red, her nostrils slightly flared, and she was breathing heavily. Downstairs seemed to fall silent as well. So many citizens, and so many young ladies and madams watching from the restaurants on both sides. Suddenly all went quiet like chickens with their necks pinched. I uneasily put down the melon seeds. "Mother, what's wrong?" My mother didn't speak, her eyes glazed, staring fixedly downstairs. It was the young lady at the opposite window who let out a scream. "Oh my! There exists such a handsome man in the world. Who is he?" Someone shouted from another window. Who else could it be? Wearing a second-grade embroidered python armor, that's Shenlang, the heir of the Shen family. "General Shen, look over here, look at me." With these few shouts, the crowd instantly became lively again. People clamoring and shouting, calling out Shenlang's name. In our private room, everyone went crazy, rushing to the window to watch the excitement. My father, uncle, and grandmother all swarmed to the window, leaving no room for me. I anxiously jumped up and down in the back row. "Make way, let me see." No one paid attention to me, everyone stretched their necks, watching intently. I looked around, picked up a plum-shaped round stool. I originally intended to hold the stool and stand behind them to watch. But unexpectedly, in my haste, I ran a few steps and accidentally stepped on my skirt hem, causing the stool in my hand to fly straight forward. The stool directly hit the back of my father's head. Originally, it would have just hit, but this person, despite his scholarly appearance, was very agile. Sensing the wind behind his head, my father immediately crouched down. So the stool went over the window ledge, straight to the street. I staggered a few steps forward, landing at the window. I actually didn't see Shenlang's face clearly. I only saw someone wearing silver armor, sitting upright on a white horse. The stool fell from the sky, and Shenlang raised his hand to block it. Then I watched as the solid sandalwood round stool shattered into pieces upon hitting his arm. The deputy beside him shouted sharply, "Enemy attack, there's an assassin." Before I could understand the situation, a group of soldiers armed with long spears and swords surrounded our private room with murderous intent. Everyone was pressed to kneel on the ground. A voice as clear and cold as frost questioned sternly, "Who threw the stool?" The whole family pointed at me. That voice commanded again, "Raise your head. What dissatisfaction do you have with me?" I trembled and raised my head, meeting a pair of clear and handsome eyes like cold stars. My mind went blank, repeating only what those girls shouted earlier, "Such a handsome gentleman." Is this Shin Lang? How could Shin Lang look like this? He's not a fat man, rather, he's as tall and slender as bamboo, graceful as jade, naturally gifted. Seeing me staring at him without speaking, Shin Lang's sword-like brows furrowed. "Speak! What exactly do you want to do?" His eyes were full of killing intent, startling me. My uncle urgently explained, "My niece Chu Chu just wanted to attract the general's attention." Shin Lang was stunned. His ears flashed a suspicious blush. He symbolically questioned my father for a while, then quickly left with his soldiers. The whole family breathed a sigh of relief, praising my uncle's cleverness. But unexpectedly, 3 days later, Shin Lang sent a matchmaker to propose marriage. I really don't understand why Shin Lang would marry me. My family and the Guardian Duke's family are not well matched. And I don't have any notable talents. Why would he choose me? It wasn't until this afternoon, when Zhou Yuting, the daughter of the Minister of Revenue, came to visit, that I learned the truth. Zhou Yuting and Shin Lang were betrothed since childhood. Shin Lang grew up in the Northwest. And although they had never met, they maintained correspondence and had deep feelings for each other. But at the beginning of this year, Madame Zhou suddenly and forcefully broke off the engagement with the Guardian Duke's family. Zhou Yuting spoke while wiping her tears. "Blame your mother." She said Shin Lang was rough and uncouth, living like a savage. Eating a whole live cow in one sitting, with hair longer than a wild man's. My mother, out of love for her daughter, refused to let me marry Shin Lang. I never expected your Liu family to be so cunning. After I broke off the engagement, you rushed in, using such underhanded means to steal my fiancé. Zhou Yuting's finger poked directly at my forehead. I looked awkward. "Miss Zhou, I'm sorry, it's all a misunderstanding." My mother, she also heard it from others. Misunderstanding? Zhou Yuting twisted the handkerchief in her hands angrily. You call it a misunderstanding, but it ruined my life. Her sharp-tongued maid scolded, "Do you think Shin Lang married you for nothing? Look at yourself in the mirror, from head to toe, you're a Liu family from top to bottom. What part is worthy of the Guardian Duke's family?" After the Zhou family broke off the engagement with the Guardian Duke's family, they were originally discussing marriage with the Earl Wang family. When Shin Lang found out, he went to Zhou Yuting, and they had a big argument. The young Master Shin, to spite my lady, said he would marry a girl from a small family to degrade himself. The maid paused, glaring at me with gritted teeth. My lady fell seriously ill, and today finally broke off the engagement with the Earl's family. Now she and the young Master Shin are destined to be together. And if you have any sense, you should ask to step down. I listened, my face pale. I had long known that Shin Lang didn't like me, but I never guessed there was such a twisted story behind it. Did he marry me just to spite Zhou Yuting? Then what am I? After Zhou Yuting left, I sat alone in the courtyard for a long time, feeling the cold wind, my heart a mix of emotions. Shin Lang and I have been married for only a month. He is favored by the emperor, busy with state affairs, and we haven't spoken much. Our only interaction is at night. Shin Lang is full of energy, seemingly tireless, and I am utterly exhausted by him. The next day, he would have someone buy pastries from Moon Pavilion for me. The maid Kai Yun always said that. A rough man like the young Master Shin would specially find out that I love sweets, surely he has me in his heart. I didn't say it, but secretly felt a bit sweet. And when he tossed me around at night, I wasn't delicate, biting my teeth to cooperate. I never thought it was all in my head. Given Zhou Yuting and Shin Lang's status, if they truly wanted to be together, I wouldn't have the power to oppose it. But I've already shared a bed with Shin Lang. What should I do if I asked to step down? Would my mother scold me if I returned home in disgrace? The more I thought about it, the more depressed I became. Just now, Shin Lang had drained the last bit of my strength, and I unknowingly fell asleep. When I woke up, the door was wide open, but Shin Lang was nowhere to be found. It was dark outside, and lying in bed, I felt a cold draft coming from my feet. I got out of bed to close the door, still blaming Shin Lang. thinking he must have been summoned to the palace in the middle of the night and left without closing the doors and windows. He doesn't like having maids serve him, always sending them far away when we're together. So there's no one to call on. Slipping on my shoes, I quietly walked to the door, ready to close it, when I suddenly heard voices in the courtyard. I immediately stopped, walked to the window, and listened intently. In the cold night of late autumn, the wind in the courtyard was strong. The conversation was intermittent due to the wind, but Shenlang's voice was louder, and I could basically hear it. Too delicate, nowhere to start. Zhou Yiting? She can't bear to see her suffer. I wish I could peel her skin, tear her apart, and swallow her whole. My face turned white with fear. What did he mean? Shenlang couldn't bear to let Zhou Yiting suffer, so he wanted to kill me? Has he been dealing with the Huns for so long that he's picked up their cannibalistic habits? My body was pressed against the window frame, all the blood rushing to my ears. My ears, listen carefully, hear clearly. 3 words stood out, exploding in my ears. Take her life. I gasped, stepping back in panic, bumping into the vase on the low table beside me. Shenlang's sharp gaze locked onto me through the window. Who's there? I was scared out of my wits, looking around frantically, sprinting back to the bed as fast as I could. In moments of crisis, one's potential is limitless. I never thought I could run so fast. I took off my shoes, lay back in bed, and pulled up the covers just as Shenlang returned to the room. He tentatively called out, "Choo-choo?" I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. Shenlang stood at the door for a moment, closed the door, and slowly walked towards me. Was he going to make a move now? My whole body tensed, my heart pounding wildly. Even with my eyes closed, I could feel Shenlang sitting on the edge of the bed, his gaze sweeping over my face and body, as if pondering where to start. I held my breath and focused. Shenlang's cold fingertips touched my cheek and gently poked it. Then, his fingers moved down, tracing along my neck, shoulder, lingering at my collarbone. Shenlang leaned close to my ear and called me in a husky voice. "Choo-choo. I really want you to death." There was another word in between, but Shenlang paused, seemingly finding it difficult to say. Half biting the word, speaking ambiguously, and I didn't catch it clearly. But the word death was heard distinctly. He really wants to kill me. He's not pretending anymore. He's showing his cards. He wants to kill me. I was so scared that I trembled all over, unable to keep pretending. Shenlang chuckled lightly, "You really are awake." Saying this, he reached out to pull my quilt. At that moment, his servant Lin Feng's voice came from outside the door. "Young master, there's an urgent summons from the palace." Shenlang withdrew his hand, sighed, tucked the quilt corner for me, and said in a very reluctant and helpless tone, "Stay home and wait for me." After Shenlang left, I threw off the quilt and jumped up. Wait for what? Wait to die. If I don't run now, when will I? I quickly packed my luggage and ran to the adjacent room, shaking Kaiyun awake. "Kaiyun, something's wrong, wake up." Kaiyun rubbed her sleepy eyes. "Miss, are we having a midnight snack?" "Snack my foot, your miss is about to be eaten alive." I pulled Kaiyun up and explained the situation in a few words. Kaiyun was startled awake, stammering, "Kill, the young master wants to kill you? What should we do? What else can we do? We can't stay here to be killed, of course, we have to run." Kaiyun and I packed our bags and sneaked to a deserted corner under the cover of night. I thought we did it flawlessly, but unexpectedly, after failing to climb the wall for the 3rd time, a tall guard came over, looking at me with a very puzzled expression. "Lady, do you need help?" "Ah!" Kaiyun and I screamed, hugging our heads. After screaming for a while, seeing the guards still standing there dumbfounded, I realized, yes, Shenlang cares about his reputation. He definitely wouldn't make his intention to kill me known to everyone. The servants haven't been notified and still think I'm the lady. I ordered him to squat in the corner, carrying Kaiyun and me over the wall. The guard was very confused. "Lady, what are you doing? Did you have a fight with the young master?" "Yes, I'm running away from home, don't ask, just squat down." The guard nodded obediently, squatting in a horse stance, supporting the wall with both hands. I felt his brain wasn't working well. Even if I did have a fight with Shenlang, could a guard just watch his master's wife climb over the wall and run away in the middle of the night? What if something happens outside? This person is missing a screw. Thank heaven, luckily he's stupid, otherwise it wouldn't be so easy for me to run. After leaving the Guardian Duke's mansion, I found the largest escort agency in the capital overnight. The Whitman Escort Agency was bustling with business, with frequent comings and goings of carriages. And it was said to have official backing, with connections everywhere. Others had curfews, but they could leave the city at night. Kai-yun was very confused. "Miss, where are we going? Why aren't we going back to the Liu residence to find Master and Madam?" "Silly Kai-yun, my parents are eager for Shenlang to be their son. Do you think they would believe me?" That day when Shenlang sent someone to propose, my first reaction was to refuse. "Are you kidding? Although he is indeed very handsome, all I've heard since I was young is his notorious reputation. Being handsome can't be eaten as food, my life is more important." I thought my parents would be on my side, but unexpectedly, my mother agreed immediately. I argued with her. "I'm not marrying him, if you want to marry, you marry him." My mother blushed, embarrassed. "Really? That's not appropriate, would your father agree?" My father rolled his eyes. "Choo-choo, I think you have a problem with your brain." The Guardian Duke's family status, young Lord Shin's appearance and demeanor. All the young ladies in the capital would fight over him. "It's our Liu family's great fortune that he has a slight eye problem in you. A dead mouse can meet this blind cat. How dare you not marry him? What if he hits me? Why would he hit you for no reason?" My parents tried to persuade me earnestly, but I still firmly opposed. My father then threatened me, saying that day when I smashed that stool. It was fortunate that uncle found a good excuse, saying I was fond of Shenlang and wanted to attract his attention. Now I don't want to marry, that excuse can't be used, so my motive for smashing the stool is very suspicious. If they really link it to an assassination attempt, what should I do? Half coaxing, half threatening, they forced me to marry. After getting married, my parents couldn't stop smiling. Although Shenlang was busy with court affairs, he was very considerate, sending gifts of food and clothing bestowed by the emperor to the Liu residence. Every time he attended court, Shenlang would greet my father with respect, causing other officials to also view my father more favorably. My mother was even happier, receiving invitations from places she previously couldn't reach, like the Earl Wang and the Duchess's residence, inviting her to enjoy flowers and wine. The couple would affectionately call Shenlang dear and were even closer to him than to me. Kai-yun shook her head. "Miss, you're mistaken. No matter how much the master and madam value the benefits of this marriage, compared to your life, these external things mean nothing." I sighed. "Have you forgotten? Do I have any credibility when speaking in front of them? I was pampered since childhood, and when my parents hired a tutor to strictly supervise my studies, I would inevitably lie to shirk. The most serious instance was when I lied that the teacher hit me, which was why I refused to go to school. Since then, they have been skeptical of my words. The Guardian Duke's family has a reputation for integrity, and Shenlang, having guarded the border for years, is considered a hero by everyone. My parents certainly wouldn't believe that Shenlang wants to kill me. 9 times out of 10, they would confront Shenlang directly, wasting time and leaving me with no way out. Running away is the best option. Once I leave, Shenlang definitely won't let it go. A missing original wife is like a carrot occupying a pit, he can't marry Zhou Yuting. So he must find me, dead or alive, to report back to my parents. Throughout the journey, I racked my brains, changing escort agencies in every city. Sometimes Kai-yun would disguise as an old lady to rent a carriage. Other times I would dress as a man, or we would pose as a couple, trying every method to avoid Shenlang's pursuit. We ran for a full 3 months until reaching Y City, where I finally began to feel at ease. I rented a small house on the bustling street and shut the door to live my life. Listening to opera today, touring the lake tomorrow. With no one to bother me, I should be carefree and content. But I couldn't find joy. Throughout the escape, I was too focused on survival to think of anything else. Now, as my mind relaxed, suppressed memories surfaced one after another. Sitting on the boat, the shimmering water reflected not koi fish but Shenlang's face. Choo-choo, here's a banknote worth 3,000 taels, use it as you wish. Once everyone in the residence is familiar, I'll hand over the management of all the previous assets to you. Choo-choo, it's cold outside, let me carry you to bed. Choo-choo, you were exhausted last night, no need to get up today, my mother doesn't have many rules. I couldn't help but tear up. Liar. He said he'd let me manage all the money, he was clearly good to me before. Why did he want to kill me just because Zhou Yiting withdrew her engagement? How can a man's heart change so quickly? The more I thought about it, the sadder I became, and I clung to the boat's edge, crying. Kai-yun, who was originally dozing at the bow, jumped up in shock upon hearing my cries. Has the young lord caught up? The boatman turned around in surprise. What young lord? In the sunlight, something bright flashed with a dazzling light. I shuddered, my heart suddenly tightened. A massive fear, like an ice pick, pinned me to the ground, rendering me immobile. My hands and feet were cold, but I forced myself to appear calm. Kai-yun, my legs are numb from sitting, come help me. Coming. Kai-yun walked over, and just as she reached out her hand, I immediately grabbed her arm, jumped with all my strength, and we both leapt into the lake. The boatman, with a fierce look, rushed to the boat's edge with a dagger, slashing through the air, only catching a piece of skirt. From the nearby awning boat, several men in black jumped out, cursing. Useless, how did you let them escape? What are you waiting for? Chase them. Plop, plop. The sound of people falling into the water came one after another, scaring me out of my wits. I let go of Kai-yun's hand and swam desperately. I had lived at my maternal grandparents' estate for a while as a child, which was built by the river, and every summer, Kai-yun and I would sneak off to play in the water. So we both were decent swimmers. Now, with my life at stake, I used all my strength, frantically waving my arms, wishing for a fish tail to grow. From the shore, only 2 water trails could be seen, creating waves, rushing towards the shore. Some even clapped and cheered. Is this a swimming race? They're swimming so fast. In June, the shore was crowded with tourists. And once Kai-yun and I reached the shore, we immediately dove into the crowd, zigzagging through, and ran out from the side alley. We ran for half an hour until no pursuers were in sight. And Kai-yun leaned against the wall, panting heavily. Miss, I can't take another step. I was also exhausted, too tired to speak, and when I turned my head, I saw a tailor shop right beside us. I raised my hand to point at it. A quarter of an hour later, Kai-yun and I disguised ourselves as 2 young men and walked out of the clothing shop. We've been on the run all the way, so I was prepared. The silver notes were wrapped in oil paper and sewn into my clothes. Now that we've been found, we definitely can't go back to the courtyard we rented. I made a quick decision, taking Kai-yun with me, and we went to find another security agency. Kai-yun's legs were weak, and her eyes were red. I kept thinking along the way that this might be a misunderstanding, that the young lord didn't really want to kill you. I didn't expect him to be so ruthless. Miss, if it weren't for your quick reaction, the 2 of us would have lost our lives today. I closed my eyes. Don't say anymore. My heart felt cold. Shinlang, you're really ruthless. Couldn't you just ask me? I don't have to hold on to the position of his wife. You could divorce me and give me a way to live, couldn't you? Or is it that you can't bear the reputation of divorcing your wife? Unwilling to let your reputation be affected even a bit, and human life is like grass to you? I felt like crying again. I pressed my eyes and climbed onto the carriage prepared by the security agency. As soon as I lifted the curtain, tears began to roll down. Shinlang sat in the carriage, his face stern, lips curled in a sneer. Lu Choo-choo, you're quite good at running. Shinlang grabbed me like a chick, lifting me by the neck and throwing me into the room. Not only was my heart cold, but my whole body felt cold too. I collapsed on the bed, looking utterly desperate. General, are you really not going to let me go? Shinlang furrowed his brows and sat beside me, his fingers forcefully pinching my chin. Lu Choo-choo, is this little matter worth you being so frightened, running so far? I was almost amused by anger. That's my life, man. What is human life to you? What do you mean by such a little matter? Is my life so cheap that I can't run even when a knife is at my throat? I gritted my teeth, glaring at Shinlang. tears falling in large drops onto his hand. Shenlang seemed to be scalded, his pupils trembling, somewhat at a loss. Using his thumb to wipe away the tear stains on my cheek. You, after a moment's pause, his voice carried a hint of grievance. Are you really that afraid of me? Shenlang withdrew his hand, lowered his eyes, avoiding my gaze. This matter, cough, is my fault for lacking experience. I was too rough before, but don't worry, I'll be gentler with you. I felt my scalp tingle, shrinking in horror, clutching the bedpost. Gentler? How gentle, using silk to strangle me? Killing gently isn't killing anymore? Shenlang, this murderous maniac, I absolutely cannot just surrender like this. My eyes darted around, my mind desperately thinking of ways to escape while talking to him to buy time. I put on a pitiful look to plead. General, whether gentle or rough, I don't like it. Can you not do this? In the dim light, I saw Shenlang's eyes darken instantly. His gaze fixed on me, scanning my face like a gentle feather, making me feel uneasy all over. I released my grip on his sleeve. Shenlang seized the opportunity to grab my wrist, pressing closer. My back was against the bedpost, with nowhere to retreat. I could only turn my head, not daring to meet his eyes. Please don't provoke his murderous intent again. Shenlang's Adam's apple rolled, swallowing. Choo-choo. His hot breath sprayed onto my ear. But I really can't help it. Can't help but want to kill me. No, my life is over, stupid brain, quickly think of a way. I was terrified, my body uncontrollably starting to tremble. Shenlang's hand holding my wrist moved inch by inch up my arm, grabbing my shoulder, pressing me onto the bed. His handsome brows and eyes enlarged before me. Shenlang's breathing was heavy, his dark eyes swirling with ink. His gaze half suppressed, half bloodthirsty excitement. Choo-choo, Shenlang called me hoarsely. Just try it once, okay? If you don't like it, I can stop anytime. Just try it once? No, I ask you, how many lives do I have for you to try? Stopping anytime, how does that sound like extending the process of killing indefinitely? Wanting to torture me to death? Shenlang is so perverted. I was even more frightened, being pressed by him. My hands spread out, frantically feeling around on the bed. This touch, I happened to grab the porcelain pillow at the head of the bed. I held onto the porcelain pillow tightly, afraid Shenlang would notice. Staring at him for a moment, then lifted my head to kiss Shenlang's thin lips. Shenlang loved kissing me. When we were alone, he always liked to hold me on his lap, not liking to hear me speak. Before I could open my mouth, he'd already blocked it. Now, I imitated his way, responding passionately, intertwining with him. Shenlang's breathing became rapid, a few low pants escaping his throat, his hands starting to move wildly. I arched my waist to cooperate with him. Taking advantage of his moment of confusion, I raised the porcelain pillow with force, smashing it hard on the back of his head. Shenlang's whole body stiffened, his eyes wide. Lu choo-choo! I was so scared I dropped the pillow. I didn't mean to, General. Shenlang said nothing, his eyes rolling back, fainting, his body going limp, pressing down on me. I used all my strength to push him away, tidying my clothes. Standing at the door, pressing my ear to it, listening quietly for a moment. Everything was silent. It seemed like there was no one outside, so I quietly opened the door. Just then, I bumped into a figure in a green robe, sneaking around outside my door eavesdropping. I screamed in fright, hurriedly covering my mouth. The person opposite me had the same expression and action as me. I released my hand, lowering my voice. Kai-yun, why are you here? Kai-yun pulled me. Let's go, we'll talk on the way. Kai-yun said. Shenlang is really meticulous in his actions. His subordinates still don't know that he is here to hunt me down. Instead, they gossip, pulling her aside to ask what exactly the young master did to make the lady of the house so angry that she ran away 300 miles. They have no guard against her, so she took the chance to drug their food, knocking them all out. As we spoke, Kai-yun and I were already on horseback, riding another dozen miles. I sensed something was off. Something's not right. If Shenlang doesn't want his men to know he's here to kill me, then what's the deal with those boatmen on the lake earlier? Kaiyun paused for a moment, frowning in thought. Maybe it's two groups, one pretending to search openly, while the other, the secret guards, are the ones actually doing the job. Such a wealthy and powerful family, truly insidious. I gave Kaiyun a thumbs up. Kaiyun, running with me these past few months has made you much sharper than before. Just as I finished speaking, the horse beneath me suddenly let out a piercing neigh. Its front hooves buckling, and I was thrown into the air, rolling several times on the ground, dizzy and disoriented. I looked closely and saw several masked men in black emerging from the woods on both sides, with a long trip rope stretched across the road. The boatman I saw during the day walked at the front, unmasked, holding a knife. I've been chasing you for 3 whole months. Damn it, you're a proper young lady, yet you're more cunning than a rat in a gutter. Kaiyun guessed right, Shenlang's men indeed came in 2 groups. My face turned pale, my palms pressing against the ground, slowly retreating. Kaiyun fell not far from the boatman, her eyes closed, her life or death unknown. The boatman pointed his long knife at Kaiyun. Your mate is still here, do you have the guts to run again? I saw Kaiyun's index finger suddenly bend slightly. So without a word, I sprang up from the ground and turned to run wildly. Kaiyun also jumped up, running towards the side woods. Our movements were surprisingly synchronized, startling the group of men in black. The boatman was dumbfounded. Damn it! Are these 2 girls mice or what? Stop standing around, chase them. Everyone chased after me, leaving Kaiyun safe. I felt slightly relieved and ran even faster with my hands ready. When I was a child, I often got spanked for making mistakes. When I was 6, my mother chased me with a willow branch but couldn't catch me. She said I ran too fast, it was embarrassing, how could a proper young lady run so fast? And told me to never let anyone find out. I used to feel self-conscious, but now I'm only grateful. Indeed, there's no such thing as a useless skill in this world, everything has its purpose. Near the woods, there's a dense patch of reeds. I dove into the reeds, and those men in black followed me in. The moon hung high, its bright light illuminating the white and brown reeds, with shimmering waves on the water's surface. I was wearing a moon-white dress, blending perfectly with the surroundings, ideal for hiding. I crouched low, carefully moving towards the river, taking advantage of moments when no one was watching. Given my swimming skills, entering the river would give me a great chance to escape. My dress brushed against the reed leaves, making a rustling sound, which made me extremely nervous. After every few steps, I stopped to listen, checking if anyone had noticed me. 4 meters, 3 meters, I was getting closer and closer to the river. Just then, a long knife suddenly slashed out from the side reeds. I screamed in fright, my body jerking backward. She's here! Footsteps surrounded me from all directions. Terrified like a headless fly, I randomly chose a direction and ran, only to collide with a tall figure. Shenlang wore a blue casual outfit, its hem soaked and clinging to his pant legs, outlining his muscular build. His expression was one of shock and anger. Lu Chu, come here quickly. My heart turned cold. It's over, they've caught up so soon. Am I really going to die here? I've only lived for 19 short years, haven't seen the magnificent landscapes. Haven't tasted the world's delicacies, how can I be willing to accept this? Shenlang saw that I wasn't moving, his sword-like eyebrows furrowing. Eyes filled with murderous intent. Looking for death. The long knife in his hand was raised high. The blade gleamed like moonlight, falling on my face. I don't know how, but countless images flashed before my eyes like a revolving lantern. Shenlang sat high on a white horse, raised his arm and shattered a wooden chair. His eyes like lightning, looking up at me. Our gazes collided, and my mind went blank. On our wedding night, he wore a bright red wedding robe. Smiling shyly at me, his handsome brows and eyes hiding countless romantic tales. 2 lines of hot tears rolled down my face. It's not that I haven't been moved. I just hate that I met the wrong person, encountering such a heartless and ruthless unfaithful man. Oh, he only betrayed me, but he was deeply in love with Zhou Yiting. Chasing me, his original wife, across 1,000 miles just to make room for his beloved. So he could marry her openly with an 8-carriage procession. What am I? My life is too bitter. My heart was filled with sorrow and fear, wishing I could cry my heart out. Choo-choo! A warm, large hand suddenly covered my eyes. Don't be afraid, I'll take you home. Huh? What is this? Shenlang bent down, like holding a child, supporting my thigh with his left arm, and lifted me up with one hand. He held my hand with his other hand, covering my eyes with my palm. Cover them yourself, don't look. With a kick of his toe, the long knife on the ground flew up. Shenlang casually grabbed it, holding the knife in his hand. Are you hurt anywhere? Shenlang held me, striding through the reeds, his tone growing more anxious. Why aren't you speaking? Let's get back to the inn, I'll find a doctor to prescribe some calming medicine for you. I moved my hand away, suddenly widening my eyes. The once white reeds were now splattered with blood everywhere. The ground was clear and bright, with many corpses lying in disarray. My mind couldn't process it at all. What does this mean? Did they start fighting among themselves? Why did Shenlang kill all his subordinates? Shenlang took me back to the inn, where a large bath barrel was already prepared, steaming with hot mist. Without a word, Shenlang closed the door and started undressing me. I quickly held my collar tightly. What are you doing? Shenlang gently pried my hand away. I'm checking if you're hurt, be good. He swiftly removed my clothes, scanning me from top to bottom. And seeing no wounds on me, Shenlang finally breathed a sigh of relief and lifted me into the bath barrel. Then he quickly undressed himself, stretched his long legs, and stepped into the bath barrel. My mind was in a fog, speechless. You, what do you mean? Shenlang held my hand. I've already sent someone to investigate, there will be news soon. Choo-choo, have you offended anyone on your journey? I was dumbfounded, pondered for a moment, and asked. Weren't those people sent by you to kill me? Shenlang was surprised. Me? I sent people to kill you, what nonsense are you talking? He reached out to feel my forehead. Are you scared, silly? His hand touched my forehead a few times, then smoothly caressed my cheek. Shenlang looked at me with heartache, pulled me over, and held me in his arms. Silly Choo-choo, don't be afraid, your husband is here. Steam swirled around, the fear and fatigue from fleeing all night seeped out from every part of my body. The warm water enveloped me completely, sitting on Shenlang's lap, my mind gradually cleared. Those assassins were sent by others, you didn't intend to kill me? A sense of joy from surviving a disaster welled up. But for some reason, a huge feeling of grievance also spread in my heart. Then what do all these sufferings I've endured count for? I hugged Shenlang and started crying. While crying, I accused him, speaking incoherently. Shenlang listened for a while with a frown, finally understanding. You thought I wanted to kill you? Shenlang's expression was complex, amused yet helpless. Lu Choo-choo, where's your brain? Shenlang recounted the conversation from that day to me. Hi's friend, Xia Hao looked at him with a hint of resentment. I'm busy with the Imperial Guards, while you have the warmth and softness of a lovely wife in your arms. You must be enjoying life to the fullest, right? Shenlang sighed. Enjoying what? My wife, alas, she's a bit too delicate, leaving me unsure how to start. Xia Hao looked intrigued. What's so difficult about that? I thought you two were as inseparable as honey and oil. Saying this, he sneakily nudged Shenlang's arm. Hey, aren't you still thinking about someone else? I've heard that Zhou Yiting's engagement with Earl Wang has fallen through. She's done so much for you, which isn't easy. What are your plans? Shenlang frowned. Zhou Yiting? Who is she? Why bring up someone irrelevant? Buddy, you have a wife and 2 concubines. I was just about to ask for your advice. I can't bear to see her suffer, Wait. Xia Hao interrupted Shenlang, looking shocked. You don't know Zhou Yiting? Isn't everyone in the capital saying you two were childhood sweethearts? Exchanging letters since young, with a love stronger than gold? Shenlang was equally surprised. Who spread such rumors? I'm too busy with daily training to even have time to write letters. Her surname is Zhou? My grandfather did mention a marriage with the Zhou family. But a few years ago, it was said that the girl knelt before my mother, terrified just hearing my name, and insisted on breaking off the engagement. Shenlang waved his hand dismissively. Let's not talk about her. I feel my wife is a bit afraid of me. Shenlang and Xia Hao met in the Northwest Army. In the army, the men tended to speak roughly. Xia Zihao, being married, was open about things, so Shenlang didn't hold back and shared our situation. Xia Zihao laughed heartily. When a woman says no, she means yes. Just go ahead and be bold, she may say no, but inside, she's thrilled. Shenlang smiled wryly. That would be too much for her. Xia Zihao put his arm around Shenlang's shoulder. Buddy, you can't just work hard without any fun. You need to do this and that, say some words, set the mood. Shenlang frowned as he listened. Would she like hearing such crude talk? Xia Zihao slapped his chest. Of course! Don't you trust me? With so many close female friends, my experience is much richer than yours. Shenlang believed him. So when he returned, he tried a tentative approach. I was half skeptical, eyes wide open. If not to kill me, then what is it? Make it clear. Our eyes met, and the air seemed to freeze. The steam was too hot, Shenlang's cheeks flushed, sweat rolling down his forehead. He grasped my arm, his Adam's apple moving with difficulty. Choo-choo, if I say it, you can't get angry. He leaned close to my ear and whispered 2 words. I blushed furiously, raising my hand to cover his mouth tightly. You're crazy! Claiming to be a nobleman, yet speaking such outrageous words. You're vulgar, shameless, you. Suddenly, Shenlang leaned in closer. My hand was still covering his mouth. Our lips were separated by my palm, and he gently nibbled at my palm. The hot water was too scalding, making me feel like my whole body was burning. My heart raced, my limbs went numb and weak, my head spun, and I felt like I could melt into the bathwater. Shenlang seemed different indeed. Who knows where he learned these tricks? Water splashed around, from the bathtub to the bed. And though I was dazed, I was pleasantly surprised to feel it wasn't as painful as the first few times. I even began to understand my mother's words. What do you know? Fearing his arm is too strong. Strong isn't bad. Do you think a weakling is better? Mother, you really didn't deceive me. The wooden bed at the inn wasn't as sturdy as the one at home. Creaking for over half an hour, almost falling apart. I fell into a deep sleep, exhausted. When I woke up again, daylight filled the room. And Shenlang was sitting inside, sipping tea, speaking softly to someone. Is everything clear? The Zhou family? Humph, daring to bully my wife, truly audacious. And Sun Tao, that fool, tell him to go make breakfast. The person opposite him smiled wryly. General, you're not punishing him, you're punishing us. Even pigs won't eat what he makes. Shenlang's face turned cold. Can't even look after a woman properly, shouldn't he be punished? The guard who let us go was named Sun Tao. He had been strong since childhood, but not very bright, so the villagers called him Silly Sunday. Shenlang noticed his loyalty and integrity and brought him back from the northwest, keeping him at the mansion as a guard. He even entrusted him with important duties, asking him to watch over me. Whatever the young lady asks you to do, you do it. So Sun Tao cooperatively let us escape. After I left, Shenlang was frantic and turned half of the capital upside down looking for me. My parents were also awakened by him in the middle of the night. Upon hearing that I had run away, my mother thought for a moment and suddenly understood. Choo-choo did complain to her sister. Shenlang, maybe it's you, cough cough, you're too vigorous on bed. And Choo-choo has been pampered and lazy since childhood, she can't handle such hardship. Shenlang felt both ashamed and remorseful. Such matters were difficult to speak of. So he could only say publicly that I had gone to my maternal grandparents' home to relax. But the commotion at Guardian Duke's mansion was noticed by those with intentions. And Zhou Yuting sent people to inquire, learning about my midnight escape. She then made a plan and decided to send people to hunt me down. I ran so fast that Shenlang couldn't find me, and Zhou Yuting's people naturally couldn't either. It wasn't until I settled down in Y City that I revealed my whereabouts. Shenlang gritted his teeth in hatred. This treacherous woman, fabricating lies, causing Choo-choo so much suffering, I will never let her go. Turning past the screen, he saw me sitting on the bed in a daze, hugging the quilt, and immediately changed to a gentle smile. Choo-choo, you're awake. Were you tired last night? Tired indeed. But tired and happy. Causing such a big misunderstanding. Making Shenlang abandon court affairs to chase after me for more than 3 months, I felt very guilty. So along the way, no matter what Shenlang requested, I unconditionally cooperated and fulfilled his wishes. Our relationship progressed rapidly, becoming inseparable. After returning to the capital, Shenlang went back to the palace to report. And the first thing he did was to settle accounts with Zhou Yiting. Unexpectedly, the Zhou family acted faster than us. They said Zhou Yiting suddenly went mad, cut off her hair, and entered the family temple to become a nun. This was clearly the Zhou family's self-preservation strategy. Zhou Yiting ended up in such a state, imprisoned in the family temple for life, her life essentially ruined. I was too lazy to settle accounts with her anymore. But Shenlang didn't want to let it go. How could a mere girl from the inner chambers command so many assassins? There must be her father's involvement. Shenlang busily collected evidence, and a month later, news came that Lord Zhou had embezzled disaster relief funds, a huge amount, and was sentenced to death, while other family members were exiled to the border. Ensuring the Zhou family could no longer threaten me, Shenlang finally relaxed and allowed me to go out. But he still had Sun Tao follow me closely. Sun Tao was rigid-minded, following me everywhere except the bathroom. I was annoyed to death. I'm talking private matters with my cousin, and you're standing here listening as a man, is that appropriate? Sun Tao nodded. Then I'll cover my ears, he said, pulling out a wad of cotton from his sleeve. My cousin cried sadly, pulling my sleeve. Cousin, don't mind him, what should I do? My cousin just turned 18 this year, and her family arranged a marriage for her with a military officer. My cousin secretly watched him practice martial arts. He looks thin and delicate on the surface, but when he takes off his clothes, his muscles are so scary. Just looking at him, I'm scared to death. What should I do? Oh, I elongated my tone, blinking at her. You little girl, what do you know? A healthy body is good for everything. My cousin looked at me with tearful eyes, accusingly. Stop lying to me. Back then, it was because of this that you ran away for more than 3 months. And your husband brought Guardian Duke's private soldiers to find you, don't think I don't know. I looked embarrassed. Eavesdropping on my husband's dirty talk, mistakenly thinking he wanted to kill me. And fleeing 300 miles in the night, how embarrassing. For the sake of face, I didn't even tell my parents the truth. So the family always thought it was because Shenlang was too rough with me that I secretly ran away. Seeing me like this, my cousin cried even harder. I knew it, we're cousins, and even you don't care about my life? I hurriedly grabbed her hand, leaning close to her ear. I'm really not lying to you, you have no idea how delightful it is. Sun Tao slipped away sometime. My cousin listened with a flushed face, covering her face and running away. Why do you say everything? I'm not playing with you anymore. Shenlang came around from behind the screen. With arms crossed, he looked at me with a half-smile. Is it really that delightful? I was burning from head to toe, glaring at him fiercely. When did you come? I was just talking nonsense. Shenlang turned and closed the door. Really? I need to verify. The curtain fell.